Well, we were only talking about our next guest the other week when we played some of our most iconic movie scenes. Here's a bit of a reminder.
Get away! Get away! Urgent message! Get away!
It is such a powerful scene from such a powerful movie. Mark Lee and Mel Gibson became household names after Gallipoli, and we are lucky enough to have Mark on our couch now. Welcome to the show.
I don't know if there's an Australian alive who that is just the most iconic scene, and in one moment, and everyone will know what happens next, but it just tells you everything you need to know about war, everything you need to know about World War One, everything you need to know about Gallipoli. It is amazing. I just want to say that.
It's got a lot of impact, yeah.
It's just extraordinary. That wasn't even a question. How does it feel to be part of such an iconic moment, though?
Well, it's like, oh God, it's like thinking about a stranger. I mean, it was 37 years ago, but I remember it as a very enjoyable shoot, and we had some great people, a lot of them no longer with us, like Billy Hunter and Bill Kerr. It was a wonderful thing to work on, but it's, as I said, it's like the past and the stranger.
Well, you made this movie in 1981, and you actually didn't get to visit Gallipoli, real-life Gallipoli, until 2015.
Yeah.
Did that kind of come with this kind of weird sense of gravity? What was it like?
I didn't know what to expect. I mean, my wife and I went late in the year. It was drizzly. There were no tourists, so it was very quiet. And we went with an academic from... a wonderful guy, and the three of us, we just got a car and we drove around, and I was surprised at how moving it was. I'd been told, people, and you think, oh yeah, but I've read so much, and it was kind of heartbreaking, especially when you see the ages of the people. And the Turks have kept it so beautiful. I mean, they've looked after it. It's extraordinary, and it's on a very valuable piece of real estate, and they just keep it pristine. And by the time we finished, it was. You almost feel like you don't want to go back there again. You've done it once, and it was such an incredible experience. It's one of those. But yeah, so I finally did, and then I realised it was 100 years since the landing, so which was fortuitous.
I mean, these days, of course, if you're making a movie about it, you'd be crawling all over there. You'd have consultants coming out your wazoo. They'd be flying everyone to Gallipoli. They'd probably actually film it there, or somebody. Did you deliberately not go to Gallipoli before doing the film, or was it just something that?
There was no money. I mean, and travelling in the 80s was so expensive. I mean, you really, it was insane. And the film was done on a tiny budget, which not a lot of people. Most of it was shot in South Australia, down near Farm Cove. That's where they dug out all the trenches. And then we shot a couple of weeks in Cairo, around the pyramids and stuff like that. So that was it.
Yeah. You were so young. Like, you were... you are still very handsome. But, you were so spunky. Like...
You're still spunky as well.
No, but you still are. But it was just like, oh, my goodness.
I think one of the things about this film is that there's no happy ending. And I remember as a young person seeing that film, and even in war movies, the good guys came through the other side. So you were kind of programmed to expecting an end. So when it comes to that final scene, that's what leaves you just hanging in space and gives you a sense of the utter futility, the waste of young life. When you were making the film, did you feel while you were making it that you were making something that would stand forever?
No. It was a very enjoyable exercise, and everyone pitched in. I mean, members of the crew are almost in every scene. They appear in tiny little cameos here and there. Near the end of it, we realised it was something kind of special, but it was special for us. We didn't know what the impact would be. We didn't know that public opinion was changing as much as it did. Because Anzac Day, when we were in our teens in the 70s, not long after Vietnam,
wasn't cool.
Was an anathema, and it wasn't until about the late 70s, early 80s that public opinion began to change about the veterans. And I met quite a few of them, and they were incredibly gracious.
Well, it hit home how young they were. Went to that war.
Yeah. They just couldn't understand why we were doing this. So.
I think this movie helped turn that around. Helped make people think a bit more about the sacrifice, not about the politics.
Yeah, I think it dovetailed into. It was just fortuitous, and.
And I mean, in that film, though, you were such sort of the golden boy, but now what you're doing now in A Place Called Home, it's totally different.
You're playing a villain.
You're so nasty, aren't you? What's that like?
But I've had a ball. He's an appalling person. He's incredibly entitled. One of those people. There's a lot of the Donald Trump in him. It's that sort of, you know, because I'm wealthy, because I have power, I can basically do what I want with people. And but he doesn't see that there's anything wrong. I mean, he actually believes he's doing everything for the right reason, which is for him. And it's been great. I get to work with Noni and Hazelhurst and Marta Dusseldorp, and it's been really something.
Can we go back to Gallipoli for just one second?
Yeah,
I want to chat to you about your very famous co-star as well, Mel Gibson. What was that like, kind of starting out with him and becoming huge household names together? Was it a bit of a rush?
If the memory serves, we were both in our 20s and having a very, very good time. And there was no social media then too, so you're getting away with a lot more. I really feel for people these days because it's very tricky.
Did you guys keep in touch?
Oh, a little bit over the years, but I haven't for a long time. I directed a film back about 10 years ago and he got in touch with me and congratulated me about that, so that was great.
Why didn't you go to Hollywood?
Oh, I did, but there just wasn't the impetus. And I stayed there for a while, and I thought I could die here. You know, like I was there for about 6 weeks, and I thought I just.
So were you practicing American accents and sort of working your way in there?
I do all that anyway. But I admire people who have that sort of stamina. And I had a couple of plays here I was doing, and I thought, no, I can't. I'd rather just. Roll
There's very much two types of Australian actors, aren't there? They're the ones that just go, right, I'm just going to roll the dice and throw everything in Hollywood. And then there's the others who say, actually, no, I want to stay here. I'm not going to sacrifice.
Yeah, it's soulless.
It is. Oh, no, not really. I mean, it depends on your sort of ambition, but also then it was tougher. Now there's a lot more people are aware of what's going on. Then it was like long flights, expensive flights. You know, now it's cheaper to get there. It's that whole thing again. You know? So no, I didn't.
But Mark, you do a lot of TV and you do a lot of Shakespeare.
I've done some Shakespeare.
Now, what do you prefer?
Oh, look, I love stage. I mean, I love stage. I've got a couple of things happening next year, which I'm getting pretty excited about.
Shakespeare?
Yes, and I haven't had as much of that as I'd like to, but it's beautiful. And there's a couple of really fine companies like Sport for Jove, which are up and coming, and they do these wonderful Shakespeare in park areas or outdoors, which is a whole other beast, you know. And it brings it to people like it's not something that's inaccessible. You know, you've got to realise this was written for people. It wasn't written for the elite.
That's right, yeah.
And if you get the right company that taps into that, it can be a hell of a lot of fun.
Exactly.
Well, A Place to Call Home, Season 5 premieres on Showcase this Sunday night. Mark Lee, you are a legend. Thank you for being on our couch.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.